Hello, hello. So, as I've been looking through people's homework, I've been noticing that this backside of 1-7, we're struggling a little bit here. So, I thought I would hop on and do maybe one more of them out, maybe two. I don't know. We'll see. So, let's just take this is the last one, the last row on this side, the middle one. So, there's the whole worksheet. I'm doing this one here. I wish they were numbered, but they're not. Okay, so anyway, first of all, you have to identify what the parent function is. Obviously, this one is an absolute value graph. Okay, so I know I need an absolute value. So maybe I'll just, I don't know, I'll just jot that down just so I don't forget it, right? Okay, it's got to be an absolute value. What might be helpful if you're struggling is sketch what the parent function should look like, right? So normally has its vertex at the origin. It's normally going to go like that, right? Okay, so what have I done to make it look like this instead? Well, the whole thing is flipped upside down. That's the first thing I notice. So how am I going to achieve that? Well, if I want to flip it upside down, I want all my y values to be multiplied by a negative number. That's going to get it to flip. So to flip upside down, I'm going to times my y's by -1. Times y by -1. Okay? All right. Well, that looks like xy. Times y by -1. Okay, and that's going to achieve an upside down flip. So maybe if you even want to sketch that, right? So now it'll look like this once I do that part. So let's erase this part. This is hard to... I wish I had my document camera. I don't have it. So I'm just using my phone and hoping for the best. Okay, so there it is flipped upside down. Great. What else do I need to do? It looks like I'm going to need to take this vertex and move it to the right 2 and up 2. Okay, so let's jot that down. Right 2, up 2. So if I make that shift, right 2, up 2, it'll be here, but then it's still going to go... I haven't changed the width of the V at all, right? It's just still going to be down 1 over 1, down 1 over 1. Okay, so let's just get rid of this part of it. I don't have anymore. Okay, so what else needs to change? Well, these y values, this y value is now here. How did it get there? It went from here, now it's down to here. Well, and it is confusing now to kind of look at it. I want you to kind of pretend like this is the origin again, right? So the y value would have been -1, but now it's -3. Okay, right? If we're pretending that that's the origin, so ignore these numbers here. Ignore them. Just pretend that that is the origin. Normally, that first y value would be at -1. But where is it? It's at -1, -2, -3. It's at -3. So I'm multiplying my y values by 3. So that's going to move this point from here to here if I multiply the y values by 3. Okay? And I've already said that I'm going to multiply it by -1, so that means I can do both of those at the same time. So I'm going to times y's by 3. But if I put these two together, that means I'm just going to multiply the y's by a -3. And then it'll do both things. It'll flip it upside down, and it will make it this more narrow V shape for me. Okay, and then I just have to take care of the right 2, up 2 part. So let's put this all together. I know it's going to be an absolute value. Anything I'm doing to the y's is going to happen outside of that absolute value. So I'm going to multiply by -3 on the outside. Then I'm going to have an absolute value bar. Then I'm going to put in an x. Let's see, I want to go to the right 2. So that means I'm going to have a -2 in there. I'm going to close it, and then I want to go up 2. So I'll put a +2 on the outside. Okay? Now, here is a crucial piece that I don't think everybody is doing, but you really want to, because it's so easy to make a mistake here. The final graph, this one. So let me erase all these other parts. I don't need them. Okay. So now I've got this. Sorry. It's hard to erase with one hand. But anyway, I really highly, highly, highly recommend that you take a couple points on the final graph and plug them into your equation. and it should work out. So for example, when I plug in +1 for x, I should get out -1 for y. If I don't, I already know that something is wrong. So let's plug in a +1 for x and see what comes out. So 1 minus 2 is -1, but the absolute value of -1 is 1. -1 times, +1, right, because I took the absolute value. +1 times -3 is -3, and -3 plus 2 is -1. Yes! So, if you were doing this homework and you had some equation that was not that, when you plug in +1, you're probably not going to get a -1 back out. And then that's a clue to you that something is wrong somewhere. So you just need to go back and make sure that you adjust for those things. Does that make sense? I hope so. I guess we can do one more. Why not? So let's take a look at this one. This is the very last one on that sheet. So parent function, this thing's got to be an x squared, right? So, okay, I'll jot that down so I don't forget. And let's see, what have we done? So normally the parent function is going to start at the origin. It's going to go up 1 over 1. It's going to go up 3 over 1. So let's see what's happening here. My vertex is not at the origin. It's left 2, down 1. So let's jot that down. I need to go left 2, down 1. So I'll need to make sure I incorporate those things. Let's see. And the other thing that's happening is normally from the vertex, I just go up 1 over 1. So I would expect to see the next dot right there. Well, it's not right there, is it? It's right here. How did it get there? Well, the x value is twice as big as it was, right? My next dot should be somewhere on this line, and it's not. It's over here. So that means I must have doubled the x values. Right? This is an x value of, pretend that's the origin now, right? So here's my new origin. It's supposed to be at 1, 1, but it's not. It's at 2, something. So to get from 1 to 2, I'm going to multiply by 2. So I need to multiply my x's by 2. Now, when we do things to the x, what does that really mean? You got to do the opposite. So I do want to multiply the x by 2, but I'm going to put it in my equation as the opposite. Put in equation as divide by 2. And isn't dividing by 2 the same as multiplying by a half? So I'm going to put it in as a half. Anytime I'm doing anything with the x's, it's always the opposite of whatever I think I'm doing. Okay, now if I multiplied the x by 2, that would mean my dot should be right here. So that means I'm not done because it's not right here, it's up here. So now I have to consider the y's. So normally, right, here's my vertex. I go up 1 over 1 to get my first dot. The next dot is not here, it's over here. So I already took care of the x part, so I've moved this dot here, but now I have to move it up here. So that was at 1, but now it's at 2, right? Because remember, I'm pretending this is my new origin. So I'm at 1, but now I'm at 2. So what does that mean? I have to do the y values times 2. Y times 2. And when I do something to the y, I really do it like it is. I don't have to do anything weird. I don't have to do the opposite. Okay, so now let's put all these things together. I know it's going to be an x squared function. I want to do the y times 2, so let's put a 2 out in front. And then let's see. Now the x's, I need to be inputting that as a 1/2, right? So I'm going to do 1/2. And then x, let's see. I'm moving it left 2, so remember that's going to look like a +2 in there. And let's square that whole thing. And then I need to go down 1. Yep, that should take care of all of my pieces. And then I'm just going to double check. I would advise you not, I mean, that's fine for you to check the vertex, but you should also check another point. If you're only going to check one point, I would advise you not to plug in the vertex, because you might have gotten the left 2 down 1 part right. That's the easy part. The hard part is getting these x and y multiplications right. So I'd rather you plug in this point over that point. Get what I'm saying? So let's see, this point is 0, 1. So when I plug in 0 for x, I should get out a 1. Let's try in my equation. So if I plug in 0, 0 plus 2 is 2. Half times 2 is 1. 1 squared is 1. 2 times 1 is 2. 2 minus 1 is positive 1. Ooh! Feel free to go ahead and check the vertex. You can also check this point over here. But you have to check a point. It is so, they're hard, right? It's so easy to make a mistake. Have that as a 2 instead of a half, or, you know, I mean, any one of these things could easily result in a small error. So if you just take a second and plug it in and see if it works, I think it'll help you out a lot. Okay, hope this helped. Hope everybody's staying safe. Email me with any questions. All right, see you later.